Hi geometry class, it's Mr. Chesney. Sorry I couldn't be there today to help teach you. I've recorded this lesson for you so that you can take notes along with me. So what you should be looking at right now is your note sheet, and specifically box 1 and box 2. And we're going to go through together and we're going to fill in the notes for these boxes. Now, of course, I won't be able to ask you questions, you won't be able to answer questions, but we can go through this, you can take some notes, and this should help you do the homework for this evening. And then tomorrow, or the next day, depending on when I see you next, I'll give you the scores back for your tests, and I'll help you with any questions that you have. Okay, so first of all, look at box 1, and it says, what does it mean for two triangles to be congruent? Congruent means the same. It means two triangles are exactly the same in all ways. They have 3 equal sides and 3 equal angles to the other triangle. It doesn't mean all the angles and all the sides in that one triangle are equal, but it means that one triangle is exactly like the other triangle. So, for example, if it says that triangle ABC is congruent to triangle DEF, that means we have got 6 parts of the triangle that are congruent. 6 parts comes from 6 angles and segments together. You have 3 sides and 3 angles in each triangle, which creates 6 relationships. So, we can take a look and say that segment AB, this segment right here, is going to be congruent to one of the segments in this other triangle. Now, it may seem obvious to you of which segment that it is, but you have to look at the congruent statement. Because AB was first, AB, in this congruent statement, we have to look at the first 2 letters of the next congruent statement. You don't even need to look at the triangles, actually. Right here it says that AB is the same as DE. So we know that AB is congruent to DE. Next, we know that BC is congruent to EF because E and F are in the same place. So, DF. So since BC and EF are in the same place, I can write that congruent statement down. BC is congruent to EF. See if you guys can figure out the last one. We already know that AB is congruent to DE. We already know that BC is congruent to EF. What are the last 2 segments that we have to figure out? If you said AC has to be congruent to DF, you're correct. AC equals DF, or is congruent to DF. They're in the same place in our congruent statement. A and C come first and last. D and F come first and last. Now the angles are even easier. All you have to do is look for the same angle in the same spot. So for example, D is the first letter in this one, so the first letter over here is A. So we can just say angle A is congruent to angle D. B is in the second spot, and so is E, so angle B must be the same as angle E. And C is in the third spot, and so is F, so angle C has to be the same as angle F. And we can put that down in our pictures too by saying that A is the same as D, B with 2 little marks is the same as E, and C with 3 is the same as F with 3. So, we've got 2 triangles down here in this lower section. We can tell that they're congruent because they have 3 sides in common and 3 angles in common. Everything's the same. So, see if you can write a congruent statement. I'll start it off for you. Triangle ABC is congruent to triangle, and now here comes the challenging part. You have to put the letters in the correct order. See if you can figure out what letters go where in the second half of this congruence statement. If the substitute could please pause the video and give everyone a chance to solve this, I'd appreciate it. Thank you. Okay, I'm assuming that you guys have figured this out. Since angle A has 3 little marks on it, the one that has 3 little marks down here is H. So H is going to be first. That was ugly. Let me try that again. H. There we go. Now, B was second, and since B has 1 little mark on it, I'm looking for the angle over here that just has 1 mark, and that would be M. And since C has 2 little marks, the Z over there also has 2 little marks, so the Z will go third. So ABC is congruent to HMZ. Order definitely matters. By the way, we could double check using our segments if we want to. AB should be congruent to HM. Let's see if it is. AB has 2 marks. HM has 2 marks. BC has 1 mark. And let's see, MZ should also have 1 mark, and MZ has 1 mark. So everything lines up nicely. All right, let's go over to box 2. We're going to learn about side-side-side congruence statements. What this means is we don't necessarily have to know that all 6 parts are congruent to write a congruence statement. We actually only need to know 3 parts with side-side-side. This says that if 3 sides of one triangle are congruent, if 3 sides of one triangle are congruent to 3 sides in another triangle, then the 2 triangles are congruent. In other words, if 3 sides match another 3 sides, you've got congruent triangles. So if you look at these 2 below, you can see that AB has 1 mark on it, and XW has 1 mark. So AB is congruent to XW. We can also see that AC has 2 marks, and XY has 2 marks. So those 2 are congruent. And BC is the same as WY. So those 2 are the same. Since we've got 3 matching sides in these 2 triangles, we can say that triangle ABC, and now here comes your chance to write a congruence statement again, has to match the other triangle. Well, how does it match? ABC, if we go around the triangle this way, ABC matches XWY. Triangle XWY. And again, you can double check and make sure A, B, and XW are in the same spots. AC and XY, yep. BC and WY, yep. Everything has to be in exactly the same position. Now, we say that these 2 triangles are congruent by the SSS congruence theorem. SSS stands for side, side, side. In other words, we've got 3 sides that are the same to these 3 sides. So by side, side, side congruence, or SSS, they are the same. This is going to help us a lot out later when we have to do proofs, and all you have to do is write down SSS. Instead of writing out a whole bunch of words and a whole bunch of reasons, you can just write SSS, and that proves the whole thing in one simple sentence. All right. Let's go to the bottom of your notes sheet. On the bottom of your notes sheet, you see that we've got another one called side angle side, or SAS. This is another shortcut to prove that 2 triangles are equal. So one shortcut is if you have 3 sides equal to another 3 sides. This one says if 2 sides, go switch to the pen. If 2 sides and the inclusive angle. Inclusive means between. So for example, if I've got this side and this side equal to this side and this side, and the inclusive angle, the angle between those 2 sides, if those are the same in both triangles, meaning if 2 sides and the inclusive angle in one triangle are congruent, to two sides and the inclusive angle in another triangle, then the triangles are congruent. So we can lay this out a little bit longer too. We can say that since AB, then that segment is the same as DE, and since angle B is the same as angle E, and we can say that BC is the same as EF, that's enough to say that triangle ABC is congruent to, and again, always be careful with how you order things, triangle DEF. And this is because of the SAS congruence theorem. Side angle side. Okay, so that's your lesson for today. We learned two different ways to prove that triangles are congruent, the side, 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 and the side angle side congruence theorems. We also learned how to write congruence statements, like how do you write triangle ABC is equal to another triangle, and remember that order is very, very important. On the back of the notes sheet that you're looking at, there are some problems. In each of the problems, there's 8 of them, you have to do some different things. For example, in the first problem, it asks you to draw 2 pictures, 2 triangles, and mark them all up so that it shows that triangle ATF is congruent to CBM. Be very careful with how you mark things. You have to make sure that angle A is the same as angle C in that situation. And then number 2 asks you to do it backwards. It gives you the pictures and you have to write the congruence statement. And then for problems 3 through 6, you have to prove that those 2 triangles are congruent and how you know. The answers are either going to be SSS or SAS. And then after you write down SAS or SSS, you have to write the congruent statement. In other words, triangle CAX is congruent to triangle NTM. You have to write those things down. Way down at the bottom for problems 7 and 8, you have to figure out what piece of information is missing. So for example, in number 7, it says you want to prove that these 2 triangles are the same by the side, side, side congruence postulate. But you're missing a piece of information. What piece of information are you missing? Same thing with number 8. If you want to use side angle side, what piece of information are you missing? And not just, oh, I'm missing an angle. Which angle congruence statement are you missing? So you need to write those things down. All right, if you have any questions, you can maybe ask the substitute teacher or your neighbor. You can also email me if you want. I should be around to help answer any questions. All right, see you guys soon. Thanks.